Hi, I'm Alex Dita with the Juventus Lamp U15 program. We're going to talk about track cycling skills today. Everything you need to know to learn how to ride a track, how to start riding the track and ride safely. With me is Kinley Gibson, national team member, almost made the Olympic team. Tell us a bit about yourself, Kinley.
I actually started with Juventus in the Lamp program about 10 plus years ago now.
Nice.
And kind of worked my way up through the ranks and ended up on the national team. Been on the national team for the past 6 or so years. And yeah, tried to go for the games, didn't quite make it, so now I'm back involved a bit more in where I started, which has been a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate you giving back to the sport, Kinley. So we're going to talk about safety first. Tell us a bit about helmets and why helmets are important and how to adjust the helmet.
Helmets are super important. Cycling can be a dangerous sport sometimes. You crash, you got to protect your head. So key to a good helmet is largely in the fit. So there's usually a little dial on the back you can use to loosen, tighten the helmet. Good rule of thumb, you want about 2 fingers between your eyebrows and the top of the helmet here. 1 finger in here, so not too loose. And then I like to have it coming down just underneath your ears here. If you go to rock the helmet, a little bit of movement's okay, but you don't want it moving side to side excessively.
Yeah, because if you crash, that force of the crash can move the helmet if it's not tight. What about gloves? Why are gloves important especially on the track?
So gloves are great for riding because they they help you grip the bars better and all that good stuff. But with the track, if you crash, first thing that's going to happen, what are you going to touch? The track. You're going to touch the track with your hands. So gloves help us hit the track and protect that skin a little bit, help you slide a little bit. It makes a difference.
In fact, for our LAMP program, we don't allow kids to be on the track without gloves. So let's talk about the safety of the bike. It's super important to have a safe bike when you're on the track. But first and foremost, why is there only one gear on the bike, Kinley, and how does it work?
So track bikes are a fixed gear system. So if Alex raises the seat up here, I spin the wheel. Notice that the pedals keep going at the same time. And so this actually can add to safety in some ways on the track, and it can also be dangerous in some ways if you don't know what to do around it. So it's safe because if you're out there and everyone's kind of going the same speed, you don't have to worry about someone hitting the brakes really hard and crashing into them. But keep in mind that there's no brakes on this bike, so in order to speed up and slow down, it's all in how you adjust your weight on the pedals. And so everything we do on the track needs to be really, really gradual. We speed up and we slow down without too much abruptness.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Kinley, so one important skill I think that's for beginner riders is learning how to accelerate, but also how to slow down on the track.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So accelerating on the track is a lot like just riding a normal bike at home. You push harder on the pedals, you're going to go quicker. It's important to remember, though, that the quicker you go on the track, the faster your legs are going to turn. So you need to kind of account for that in your head. Decelerating is a little trickier. So one thing we're going to see with this bike is if we roll the pedals, we've talked about this, the pedals keep rolling. And if you leave that bike for a little bit, those pedals are going to slowly turn slower and slower and slower. So one way to just really slowly scrub your speed on the track is just to not push on the pedals, but just let the pedals kind of turn themselves over and you'll gradually slow down. There are times when we want to slow down a little bit quicker. And when that happens, we're never going to, smack back on the pedals really hard, but we are going to kind of push right here on the pedal. So if the pedal's turning here, we use our legs and we just sort of slow it down as it comes up. The best way to maybe see this is with a little demonstration from Alex. So he's going to show us it.
Right. Speed up and slow down. Speed up and slow down.
It's also important to note that if these pedals are spinning like this, and then suddenly we try and coast, the bike kind of jerks.
And it can buck you off like a bucket bronco.
And it can buck you
Yeah.
off like a bucking bronco. So we don't want that. So we try and always keep our pedals moving. Always keep those legs moving no matter what.
Yeah, good. What about the how dangerous is that fixed gear setup? What could happen?
So something with the track bike is we often change these gears in and out. So we're around this chain, but if this is spinning here, you don't want to get your fingers caught in there because you can't get it out because the momentum of the wheel will carry your finger in. So it can be really dangerous. You can like lose a finger in there if you're not too careful. So keep your fingers clear of the chain ring. Just stay away from it.
Okay. All right. So safety setup. What should we think about first when we're getting ready to ride the track?
So we got to consider that these bikes, I mean, a lot of these bikes that we're riding here today are rental bikes, and you don't necessarily know who had it before you. You don't know if they, did their homework on it. So there's a variety of safety checks that we can do. Starting at the front of the bike. I don't know if Alex, you want to run us through, but
sure.
There's lots of things we can make sure are safe.
So stem, put the wheel between your legs and check to make sure that the stem doesn't move on the front of the bike. Also, seat. Make sure the seat is tight. We'll show you how to adjust your seat in a second.
Bars, let's double check the bars. Make sure they're not moving this way or that way. Those are nice and stable.
And then tire pressure. How much should you have in your tires?
I think for this track out here, 90 to 100 is pretty good. 90 to 100 PSI.
And I think every time you come to the track, you should be checking your tire pressure every time you come. Don't assume that the tire pressure is correct. Okay? Let's talk about seat height next.
Seat height. Everyone's a little bit individual in what they want, but a good kind of quick check you can do is if you hop on the bike and you put your heel, so Alex will just show us, and you put your heel, you want your leg to be pretty much straight near the bottom of the crank.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So when you put your
toe in,
there's a bend in the leg.
you want a slight bend in the leg, but not too much, not too little. It is a little bit your own comfort as well. So if you're getting on the bike and you're feeling, oh, I'm really having to reach for the pedals, bring that seat down a little. Likewise, if you're getting on, you're noticing that you're really feeling cramped and your knee angle is weird, maybe raise that seat up a little bit.
If you already have a seat position set for your road or your mountain bike, you can take a tape measure and measure it and copy that seat position right over if you already have your seat height figured out. Easy enough.